ago today, American literary icon James Baldwin was born in Harlem, New York. Baldwin, an essayist, playwright, and novelist, was a keen and critical observer of American racial and social injustice. And through influential and enduring works like Notes of a Native Son and his collection of essays, The Fire Next Time, Baldwin offered an unflinching look at the realities of Black life in America. But in order to find the freedom and creative space to write his observations, Baldwin believed he needed to watch from a distance. He left the United States for the first time at age 24, arriving in Paris with just $40 to his name. In 1977, when he was returning from abroad to live once again in the United States, Baldwin spoke to the New York Times about his expatriation, saying, "I had to leave. I needed to be in a place where I could breathe and not feel someone's hand on my throat." Today, amid a national climate that has prompted a movement to declare that they too feel as though they can't breathe, a new generation of Black travelers has found freedom and solace in escaping abroad. Recently, the New York Times profiled these travelers who have coalesced around social networks like the Nomadness Travel Tribe and Travel Noir to share overseas adventures, travel tips, and the singular experience of being African American beyond the boundaries of America. Joining my panel now, Malik Holber, founder and creative director of Man About World magazine, Frankie Ndozian, journalist and director of the Reporting Africa program at New York University's Journalism School, and Evita Robinson, CEO and creator of the Nomadness Travel Tribe. So let me start with you. What does it mean to be a Black American abroad?
It means that you have a chance to represent your people on a larger scale. I think there's a responsibility that comes along with it when you go abroad. I remember, teaching when I was in Japan. I was the first Black person I know a lot of my young students saw. So it was all about my hair and playing in it during my lunch break. And I went there right as Obama was actually starting his first presidency. So some of my sentence structures, the kids would yell out from the back of the room, "Yes, we can." And this is elementary school. So I'm sitting here like, they don't even understand the capacity of what they're saying. And it really shows that what we're doing in-house in the country is really a projection that's going out to the rest of the world. And right now, today, we need to be careful because that's scary.
Yeah, my niece is living in China and teaching English right now, and so some of your story reflect. There she is. Hey, Catherine. Kind of reminding me of those moments. But part of what your site also does, and it's part of why I wanted you here at the table, is look. James Baldwin was two things. He was at the intersection of queer identity and Blackness. His need to breathe was about both of those things. And, there was always this kind of motorist travel book that helped Black folks to just figure out where to go in the world within the U.S. And it's also a space where, there are parts of the country where parts of the world where identities are policed, are criminalized, where it's actually dangerous to be a person of color, to be a woman, to be gay.
Right. There are 76 plus countries today where it is illegal to be homosexual. And gay people face some of the same trouble that Black people face in traveling. And I think they also compound themselves. So you talk about Black gay people traveling, it's an even broader conversation. But a lot of the themes, I think, that Evita brought up are really very similar. It's the connection between identity and culture that you discover when you travel, not only about the people you are seeing, but about yourselves. Baldwin said, I met a lot of people in Europe. I even encountered myself.
Right. That's it.
And yet I wonder if there is still a kind of American imperialism associated with, let me go use somebody else's country to find myself, right? And so how do we do it in a way that doesn't extract that resource as well?
Excellent. I think that one way that we could do this is to make space for our brothers and sisters who are African or other brown people around the world traveling. As a person of color who's traveling as an African, when I come into the West, which is Europe or America, I always have to bring a lot of documents, not just my passport, which as an American I can just fling, but Africans have to bring birth certificates, they have to bring letters from whoever is inviting them, they go to a conference, they have to show that they're not a terrorist, that they're actually here for an academic purpose. And so when you see someone in line with a huge stack of papers shuffling and you're wondering why isn't this line going forward, is because he's subject to different kinds of questions that Americans are subject to as Americans traveling on a blue passport. So what I would hope for is African Americans traveling abroad to make space for their African brothers and sisters and other brown people in India or whatever when they come to this part of the world to assist us to come in here on legitimate business and also have a truly cultural exchange so it doesn't feel like you're coming, you're taking, and you're going.
It's about the reciprocity. It's all reciprocity. Anytime Nomadness goes to India and we went to South Africa as well, it was about the reciprocity. We leave a piece of ourselves and who we are in every single country and city that we go to.
And also, I try to get off the tourist path, and I love Nomadness. Like, I had a great experience when I went to Mumbai. I was in India and traveled to 6 cities. And I started at a conference, and we stayed at the Four Seasons, or one of the Four Seasons, or more than one. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take a walk. And the guards, these heavily armed guards, were like, no, don't take a walk. And in this area, the only thing separating a luxury hotel from a slum was a big, tall wall and with AKs. And so
go over the wall.
Right. And so I walked, and a family took me in and served me lunch. Yeah. I took all these pictures of the neighborhood. I mailed them to the family. We kept in correspondence, and it was literally one man in a whole neighborhood who spoke English, and that was the man who I got information from. You can end up having powerful experiences.
What you just said there, I just want to put a pin in for a moment, because that idea about linguistic capacity, that one of the things that is often troubling about Americans is that we often speak only English. Maybe one other European language, and I wonder how that limits us as world travelers.
Well, what I tell people all the time is that if these other countries want to make money, there's somebody there that speaks English. Let's just be real. That is a universal language. So if you're going to want to interact, they're going to know a little bit of every language. I remember being literally like kind of ran after the first time I went to India with just 2 of my girlfriends, and one of the girls was Haitian, was like, all right, I'm going to speak French and Creole so that they leave us alone. They spoke French right back.
Yeah, they're like, roll down.
Wait a second.
There's no
Plan B.
English has become sort of the international language of travel, but when gay people,
it does.
Well, but it also gives us the ability, and with that comes the responsibility, to go out and talk to people. Though for gay people, that also comes with another set of responsibility, because we travel with tourist privilege. Westerners, whether you're black or white, travel with tourist privilege. When you're staying at the Four Seasons Hotel, anywhere in the world, you're staying with tourist privilege.
Absolutely.
And yet, just by our interactions, we can put local gay people, LGBT people at risk. So for us, even meeting people comes with its own risk, and it's something we talk about in Man About World magazine all the time.
So we can also learn a few words of Swahili or Yoruba or Igbo or Twi when we go places, and not just come in with our Western, we're better than you, we only speak English. I mean, you go to Paris, people don't talk to you if you speak English. So we can make the effort and I want to learn a few words of Twi. I want to learn a few words of
Finally, we needed a half hour. Thank you to Billy Culper for today. Frankie Andozian and Evita Robinson. Man, the travel. We're going to do more of this. Up next, 2 unsung martyrs of the civil rights movement. How their lives and death helped change history. The people of the world. We are down. Yes.